Beautiful winter's day in Brisbane, almost a summer's day by Sydney standards. The temperature up around the 24-degree mark, and a breeze has sprung up in the last half hour. And here come the Broncos. The sponsor gets some publicity, and the Broncos captain today, Greg Dowling, in place of Gene Miles. And this side have a huge task ahead of them because St. George are in form. Hoff at fullback. On the wings, Hancock and Plowman with Renoff and Willie Morganson in the centre. Julian O'Neill at 5'8". Kevin Walters is the halfback. A very young, inexperienced back line. The forwards, Madison at lock forward. Alan Cahan in the second row. Gilmister alongside him. Andrew G. Kerrod Walters. Greg Dowling the front row. Coaches Wayne Bennett. The Dragons already out there, unchanged from last week, this St. George lineup. Potter at fullback, Walford and a fire on the wings, Mark Coyne and Rex Turp in the centre, Peter Coyne 5'8", Troy Hodges is the halfback. And the forwards at lock forward, Jeff Hardy, the second row, Goulet and Tony Priddle, and the forward lineup, Sean McBean, Wayne Collins, Paul Osborne, coaches Brian Smith. There is a good crowd in attendance, but plenty of them are barracking for St. George. There is a Queensland contingent among the Dragons. Referee today is Eddie Ward. So he's on his home turf. And Ricky Walter to get the match underway. Kicks towards the centre of the field. And Walter's back there, gives it to Paul Hoff. Dropped from the test side. But Hoff by no means out of form. Has made a couple of mistakes, but has been in very strong running form with the ball as Gilmister takes it up to the 22. Kerrod Walters running from dummy half. Picks up Plowman. St. George player down in the back play. It looks like Osborne.
Yeah, Paul Osborne down after a great charge from Trevor Gilmeister.
Greg Dowling takes it up. Has to lead from the front today. The most experienced Bronco is Paul Osborne back on his feet. Back to Hoff for the kick. Away from Mick Potter. Good chase from the Broncos down there. Early games today, a win to Brisbane in the under-21s, 30 points to 14. And in reserve grade, Brisbane up in the top 5. Brisbane 30, St. George 22, winning reserve grade. Sean McBean to play it. Osborne on the blind side. Looks like he's recovered from the early knock. Priddle. The back row of Brisbane today, Madison, Can and Gilmister, certainly lacks size, Arthur.
They certainly lack size, but because of the humid weather here today, it could be a good ploy by Wayne Bennett as late in the match as some of these big men might be looking for a bit of gas.
Speaking of big men, Brett Plowman on the wing for Brisbane was probably their third biggest player alongside Andrew G and Greg Dowling.
A lot of responsibility, no doubt, in the absence of Gene Miles will fall upon Greg Dowling and Trevor Gilmeister and also Andrew G to hold this pack together.
Penalty goes to Brisbane. Osborne in the tackle there, holding on a little long, and then just a little bit of a dispute. Referee Ward will call them out. Can taking the ball up. Came Osborne with McBean around his legs. Paul Osborne being spoken to by the referee. So Paul Hoff will look for touch.
They ought to bar that ground announcer.
I'll say. Give him a microphone, let him commentate. Plowman. And there's the first round results. St. George upsetting Brisbane at Cogger Oval, 20 points to 12.
And that was a game that Brisbane led quite comfortably in the first 20 minutes, and the whole game changed.
Terry Madison spent too much of the season for his liking in reserve grade as G and Osborne have a bit of a push and shove off the ball. Now Julian O'Neill thrusts himself into half a hole. Walters, G. Fifth tackle. The Broncos only 11 metres out. They've got a back line. St. George a little short on the far side. Walters runs himself. Has support inside. Dowling was on the outside. Gilmister inside. It's a handover.
Yeah, certainly a great chance there for the Broncos, but it already looks, John, as though Paul Osborne has been singled out for some attention by the Broncos.
Yeah, well, by the end of the day, Arthur, he might wish he was at the wedding.
Here he is, only 15 metres out from the Dragons line, hit by Gilmister low. McBean. Wayne Collins at dummy half, one of the excellent buys for St. George this season, and another is Peter Coyne, and that's a tremendous kick from Peter Coyne. Really, the St. George turnaround this season came only about 8 weeks ago when they signed a Fire, Hardy and Peter Coyne, this man who's really got into that 5'8" spot.
Yeah, it was strange that a lot of the clubs ignored him. Peter Coyne is from the Valleys Club up here in Brisbane, and I suppose a lot of the loyalties will be divided today.
Ball off the scrum. Points scored in attack by these two teams. Brisbane 294, St. George 302. But Brisbane this season really have been down in their attacking record, and likewise against Brisbane 236, St. George 210. St. George have the third best attack, the fourth best defence. But Brisbane this season have really fallen away in attack and defence compared to their record of last season.
And we see this controversial ruling. Paul Osborne is deemed to be seen as pulling the ball out of Terry Madison's hand, and you see the arm work there by Paul Osborne.
Terry Madison getting his chance with the original switch of Gene Miles to the centres, but also the injury to Bob Conway in the Manly match last week with concussion. He's out, and he has been kicking the goals for Brisbane lately, so Madison, the better kicker, back in first grade today. Hancock, who has been switched from the left wing to the right wing, presumably to mark Martin Afire, as G swings out of the tackle of Collins. Dowling. Got Can with him.
Got a good centre of gravity, Can. About a foot off the ground.
Gilmister throws a dummy, almost gets away. Green diving at him. Priddle got hold of him in the end. Now it's Walters running around Madison. He goes himself, looks for support, and he gets it back to Walters, doubling around. And that's a great try. Kevin Walters, the halfback, coming around the lock forward Madison. Madison made the break, turned, and there was the support. It's Brisbane 4, St. George 0.
Yeah, we see great acceleration. They worked it to the 60, just the other side of the post, and they returned here. And we see Walters come around, do the run around with Terry Madison, throw the dummy, and Madison accelerated into the hole, and Walters was there to back up to put that ball down alongside the upright.
Simple run around move, but it fooled the St. George defence as they moved up. Wayne Collins, I think it was, just caught on the wrong foot by Terry Madison darting ahead, and that created the opening right in front of the post. Walters toured with the Kangaroos, but yet to crack a test match. Last season, Walters played 25 games, the most for the Brisbane club. Madison right in front of the posts. And 2 more points to the Broncos. They lead 6-0 after just 7 minutes of play.
Yeah, well, after a tap play, they knocked it 3 ways, same way, and hit back with this play. Good dummy by Madison, evaded a couple of tackles, including Aussie, and Walters was there on the spot. He instigated and finished it off.
Terry Madison involved in the try and kicked the goal. Eddie Ward just went over to the touchline to check something. The early try to Brisbane. gets them off to the start they need, but that's not what they need. Terrible mistake by Kevin Walters. No real excuse.
Now we have a look here. Kevin Walters obviously just taking his eye off that ball. He probably is looking into the sun a fraction there, but certainly admonishing himself on that occasion.
St. George scrum win inside the Broncos quarter. Turp tackled by Morganson. Plays it forward. He wasn't marked. He's only 8 metres out. Dumped by Renoff.
Almost a dangerous tackle there.
St. George with plenty of tackles. Hardy out to Coyne to Walford. Got away from the touchline well. Plowman wrapped him up. Collins gets it to McVean. Sean McVean puts his head down. Hodges, Coyne, out to Goulet, standing wide. Gets a pass away to Turp. Turp sliding for the line. It looks like a fair try. And referee Ward says yes. Momentum carried him over the line. Good quick balls by St. George to get it wide, and then Goulet with a little bit of a step just cut his way through the defence, enough to send Turp on his way. Well, Brisbane have really paid for that mistake from the kickoff. Here's Goulet, good step, just got inside Morganson. Sent Turp racing for the line, and as he slides over, almost losing the ball, just managed to hang on to it. Did look like a fair try.
Yeah, it looks as though the momentum carried him over here, but we see here a great break here by the second row of Goulet there. Puts the ball out to Turp, but he does slide over the ball, slide over the line here. His momentum carries him over. We never had anyone there tackling him anyway, so he could have reached over. So there was no suggestion of a double movement there.
And what a season Rex Turp is having. He has now scored 22 tries in all grades this season. 22 tries after being picked up in the draft by St. George. In fact, it was one of the later draft choices made by St. George. Ricky Walford to attempt the conversion. 13 metres in from touch. Has the breeze right behind the kick. Hits it well, but it just swung to the left. So the score remains 6-4 in favour of Brisbane after 11 minutes of play. Troy Hodges shoveling the ball wide. And good work by Coyne. 2 long passes there. That gave Goulet a little bit of room to move with.
Don't worry.
And there was Turp to finish it off as the cover tried to get across to him, but O'Neill arriving just too late. Play underway once more as Hardy brings it back.
That's an enormous hit there by Trevor Gilmeister and Kieran Walters.
Hardy stung by it. Collins up to the 22. McVean motoring ahead with a good run. The defence a little slow to move up that time. Quick play the ball. Potter, Priddle. Fifth tackle. Back it goes to Peter Coyne. Tries to get away from Madison, got into trouble, or it was Walters. He got into trouble. Finally Potter gets the kick away, but a poor kick. Gilmeister.
They had to be offside, those players.
Here's O'Neill. Can goes to the blind side. Now it's Walters. Hancock tried to shove off a fire. The Turp came across to help out. Madison. Kevin Walters. Long ball for Hoff. And the long stepping off. Gets it away to Morganson. Puts for his winger. He's got to ball in Renoff. And Renoff scores. That's a real confidence booster for the young Broncos. 10 points to 4 to Brisbane. Plenty of tries early in the match. We've had 3 tries in 13 minutes. After the Hancock's run. They shovel the ball wide. Some beautiful balls here. Hoff stepping through the line. Those long legs. He got it to Willie Morganson. Burst onto the ball. Gave it out to Renoff. And he flew over in the corner.
They were always short-staffed here, but some beautiful balls. A couple of face passes there. Right out to the flying Hoff. Steps off his left foot. And who should be in sport but Willie Morganson. And there's his centre part of plucks that ball out of the air, and a great try and a great comeback by Brisbane there. And here we see those passes here, and there's Renoff, as he likes to be called, putting that ball in the left-hand corner.
Steve Renoff, one of 12 children in the family, and of course cracked State of Origin football this season. A little like the McGrady family.
Well, I'd imagine
I'd hate to see the McGradys playing the Renoffs.
He'd certainly have to run fast at mealtime.
Madison put his first one over from right in front of the posts. This is far more difficult. Only a metre in from touch for Terry Madison this time. He is kicking into the breeze. Hits it well. May come back. No, just straight out to the right-hand side. So the score remains 10 points to 4 in favour of the Broncos.
Well, here's the play right across the field. Good long balls, great skills here. There's a real long one by Wallace. Hoff does the damage, cuts inside. Morganson in support. And these are the type of movements that make coaches smile. But in Wayne Bennett's case, we better wait a while.
So St. George restart for the third time in the match. They don't get the result they got last time when Walters copped up the ball.
I've been waiting all year for a referee to penalise someone from the kick-off for offside. On that occasion, we saw Martin O'Fire well in front of the kicker.
Andrew G trying to play the ball. Now it's Dowling. Greg Dowling, 31 years of age, by far the most experienced player out there. Certainly in the case of the Broncos, who have 11 young players who average just 21. Two men out there, O'Neill and Morganson, only 18 years of age. So Wayne Bennett really has gambled on his young up-and-comers today, because he left Dale Shearer, who was playing for Australia only 2 weeks back. He left Shearer in reserve grade today. Potter.
Good tackle there by Renoff. We have a look here. Brisbane with only 23 tackles to their credit, and St. George having to do a lot more defence there, and that's a beautiful tackle there by Terry Madison.
Madison really drove in with his shoulder that time. Goulet runs into O'Neill and Walters. Collins gets it to Hardy. Good short ball, but equally good tackle by G and Walters. Fifth tackle. Coyne doesn't muck around with it this time. Got into a lot of trouble last time he tried to avoid the chaser. Kick bouncing for Plowman. And George offside. And Plowman gets around Walford. Walford realised that he was inside the 10 metres and tried to back away. Now it's Hoff. Up to the halfway. Can gets a low, sharp pass. He wasn't really expecting it as Walters changed his mind.
Well, Walters...
Bennett and Miles looking a little grim-faced at that mistake.
On that occasion there, but looked as though Can was cutting back to his left, and of course Walters anticipating that he would still travel to his right, put the ball in front of him.
Riddle.
And there's an error count that Brian Smith wouldn't like. 8 missed tackles by St. George.
Our referee Warner gives a penalty to St. George here, and I think he's saying that Brisbane came in too late with the tackle. But the man was already hit.
You see there, Wayne Collins has swung down, and referee rightly so, there's a number of players there, Kevin Walters and Andrew G at fault.
That's a decision you don't see very often, but last week Andrew Tessman was caught by the referee in the Manly match for that, coming in for a tackle after the initial tackle was completed. Here's it at a different angle. Wayne Collins tries to swing away from Kerrod Walters, hits the ground, and in comes G and also Kevin Walters.
It's called getting your tackle count up. Warren, flopping.
Or beanbagging, as Bob Fulton claimed you used to do. Now, Ricky Walford. 32 metres out. Hits it well. And the flags are up this time for Walford. So Brisbane now leading by 10 points to 6 after 19 minutes of play. Both teams prepared to move the ball around so far in the match. Now delay while we get another ball. St. George have won 5 of their last 6 matches, 6 of their last 8 since Martin Afire and his friends arrived. O'Neill with the restart. Hardy brings it back. Potter. Brisbane, despite having an unsettled lineup, still have 9 players on the field who've played Origin football. St. George have 3 Origin representatives, plus of course Afire, who has played Test football. Coyne. Osborne's down on the ground for St. George. Hoff with a bit of room to move, and Plowman says have a go. Difficult man to get hold of with those long legs. Here's Osborne grasping his knee. Doesn't look good.
Certainly been in the wars, Paul Osborne.
Gilmister. This is what happened to Paul Osborne. He ran straight. Well, it looked like his head hit the knee of O'Neill, though it looked like he was grasping his knee.
And he's trying to hear the trainer there just alerting Eddie Ward of the situation there, and
I'm pretty sure it is the knee. It's not the head that's injured.
No, I think he might have been tripped there. Not so much a trip, but just ankle tap. You have a look here as Osborne. There's a bit of an ankle tap as one of the players goes in.
It did look as if it was his knee hitting the ground very hard as he was half tripped. Ankle tap.
And it's
Neil Tierney.
Well, then on.
And Neil Tierney, a very good player for St. George. We also saw Matt Elliott come on last week for St. George, and he figured very strongly. So they do have 2 very good replacements in Neil Tierney and Matthew Elliott on the bench.
Certainly it is a blow to lose Paul Osborne, who's been in such good form, dominating the rucks, growing in confidence. He's really paid tribute to Brian Smith for lifting his game. He's learned to control his error count with getting the good passes away, which Osborne's always been capable of, but he's learned to pass at the right time and to hold at the right time. Doesn't look like he'll be taking any further part in the match. Madison gets it out to O'Neill. He kicks ahead into open spaces. Here's a chase. O'Neill flying through. Back goes Potter. And Potter just saves the day. But that shows plenty of confidence from young Julian O'Neill to kick and the pace to get there.
It certainly does. We see Julian O'Neill, they put that ball over, and it is towards Ricky Walford's wing, who is one of the speedsters there, but Ricky just slowing up as he sees Michael Potter coming over to force that ball dead.
O'Neill played Australian schoolboys football in 1989.
And one of his more illustrious teammates on that occasion, Brad Fittler, who plays for Penrith.
Short pass comes out to Gilmister. Madison. Good run. A little dummy inside just caused Collins to miss the tackle. Walters with his brother carried around him. Out it goes to Hoff. Back to Morganson, but he's lost the ball. Walters trying to scurry away, but referee Ward says it went forward from Willie Morganson.
Yeah, once again we saw a runaround movement there, and the ball just all floated to Willie Morganson, and he's tackled from behind before he can grab hold of that ball.
Willie Morganson from North Queensland originally played Foley Shield football, which of course is an institution in North Queensland, at the age of 17. Criddle. Brisbane leading 10-6 midway through the first half. Tierney trying to get the pass away to Hodges.
Warren, that's an area where St. George could capitalise on. There's size in the forwards. If they can just stand in tackles, I think it wouldn't be a bad avenue to attack the Broncos through that area.
Hoff gathers it in. Now Kevin Walters got it back to Can.
Mark Coyne tackling Brett Plowman without the ball there.
Gilmister. Maybe should have given it to Dowling.
Yes, and there's the top defensive players for both sides. Andrew G with 9 and Sean McLean with 12.
G gets a good pass back to Can. Up towards the halfway. Dowling. Gilmister. Gets it away to Hancock. A fire grappling with him. Hangs on, but it's noticeable the Rex Turp quickly across to help out. O'Neill. Straight to Potter. Near his goal line. Good run from Mick Potter. Beat one tackle. But a tackle from O'Neill got hold of him. Priddle. Collins with a good run. Caught the defence napping.
Yes, and Collins picking his moment to run there. Greg Dowling up in the tackle there, but very slow to get up and mark.
Hodges kicks. It's a deep kick. There's no one back for Brisbane. Plowman racing back. It's a tremendous kick, but just goes too long. Touch in goal. Plenty of length on that kick from Troy Hodges.
Certainly was, and a little bit unfortunate there for St. George because that ball just rolling into touch in goal there, and which constitutes a 22 tap.
Brian Smith up in the stands. During the week, Brian Smith criticised the Brisbane camp for claiming that their loss of representative stars was a major factor in their, well, I guess it hasn't been a failure of a season, but it certainly hasn't lived up to expectations. But Smith said every club has to live with that. He pointed to the fact that he's lost players like Brad Mackay during the year. Michael Beattie out today, injured. Guy Pickin, Jason Alchin, Jason Stafford, all have had their time out through injury this season.
And of course, Michael Beattie, the man they missed most, especially out in the centres there, he does organise the defensive pattern out wide.
O'Neill swivelling it around in the tackle. It's the 5th tackle now. As Walters tries to get away, he's in trouble. Still alive, though, for Brisbane. On the last, Morganson trapped, and Brisbane have made a mess of it. Kevin Walters tried to run on the last, but it came to nothing. He ran into trouble. 10-6 to the Broncos. 25 minutes gone. Brittle up to the halfway. Had a fire lurking. First time a fire has really come in off his wing. Potter ducks under a tackle. Slid over the top of Gilmister. Coyne trying to get it to his brother. And the knock-on to be played.
They had plenty of numbers out on the left flank here, but we see Andrew Tessman coming on, and interested to see who the man to come off will be. Probably Greg Dowling.
Hancock, again, he runs straight at a fire. He seems determined to motor right over the top of him. Hoff down the blind. Good run. Only Hodges was awake. Paul Hoff is playing well today. Dowling crunches forward. Quick play the ball. Now they swing it wide. O'Neill. Long ball for Renoff. Almost managed to pull it in. Welford has it for the Dragons. Pass was low, and Renoff did well to even almost pull it in. Now Walford escapes. Down the touchline. Renoff chasing. Just gets hold of him. Good quick thinking by St. George to hit down the blind side. Collins. Coyne. Tierney motors ahead. Gets a pass away to Hodges. Oh, it's a simple try. Beautifully executed by St. George, but so simple. With Tierney powering onto the ball. The tackle didn't hit him hard enough to upset his momentum. and there was no cover behind the line. From on the touchline after the great break by Walford upset the defence. Coyne got it to Tierney, really did charge, and well, he just leapt into the tackle and had Hodges alongside him.
When you make mistakes against a side like this, inevitably you get caned. And we have a look at Tierney. He picks out Greg Dowling, and Greg Dowling was running back into a defensive position with his back to the attack, and was just left up to Tierney there to offload to Troy Hodges, and it was a simple try.
You've got to give credit to the break by Ricky Walford as well down the touchline. That turned Brisbane around, got them into trouble. 10-all with the kick to come. Troy Hodges backing up beautifully. Halfback sniffing off his big men. Ricky Walford, before this match, had kicked 36 from 59. 1 from 2 so far today. This is close to the posts, and the flags are up, and St. George hit the lead 12-10, 12 minutes before half-time.
Yeah, when you make mistakes in this type of football, you bleed, and here's Tierney getting up a lot of steam here. The defence laid off, but that's St. George's strength. Their big fella's been able to stand up in tackles and offload the people like Hodges.
Brisbane find themselves struggling a little now after starting the game well.
Warren, that run from Ricky Walford down the sideline, that was great work by Rex Turp. He's the #1 draft pick in the external. That's the youngsters spotted by St. George up at Warhope. Great to see him play first grade, emulating a feat that Mark Prothero's done with us. He's an external draft choice.
Hardy. Alan Cann having a rest. Testman on the field. Last tackle. Back it goes to Coyne.
That's an area that the Broncos have fallen down in, is their ability to put pressure on St. George's kicking game. They did score a try after they put pressure on Potter and Coyne.
Hoff with a good step. And it wasn't long before that St. George try that Brisbane conceded a handover. Kevin Walters dashes away. Has support coming up inside. Hancock's there. Potter managed to knock his momentum, slow him down. The cover arrived just in time. Great break by Kevin Walters. Brisbane have a long, wide back line. Will they get it there? Gilmister goes himself. Back inside to Coyne.
No, he was never onside. Eddie Ward erred in that instance. Peter Coyne was never back to 5 metres.
Surely Gilmister should have let the pass go. They were all the same.
Well, it was pretty tough because Peter Coyne went up very quickly there. He was never back to 5 metres and got in the road virtually. He cut off the attack.
St. George 10 metres short of halfway as McBean taken by Morganson. Rogers kicks over Hoff's head. Hoff and Plowman have been caught with a couple of kicks going over the top of them. No doubt Hoff just playing up closer to the line, worried that someone might try a little chip over the top. Hancock tried to play the ball. Hodges holding him. Kerrod Walters, former Australian hooker. Not getting a look in this season with Steve Walters in the test team. Very talented Walters family. Dowling, Renoff, outside Coyne, gets it to Plowman, pushes away from Walford, gets it back to Kevin Walters. Out of the tackle of Hodges, on it goes to O'Neill. Still ongoing, Julian O'Neill, sets sail now, over 22, still on his feet. Oh, a magnificent try from the young man. Julian O'Neill sets Lane Parker light. The schoolboy star from St. Brendan's College at Yeppoon. A magnificent individual effort there. We'll count the tackles that he beat here. Great work initially by Renoff to Plowman. He broke a tackle at Walford, got it back to Kevin Walters backing up. Walters did some tremendous work here. Stepped out of Hodges, away from Fiddle. Now O'Neill takes it near halfway. That's 3 men he beats. Steps inside a fire, leaves another on the ground. That's 4 men he's beaten. Up to the 22. Tierney can't get him. Another man goes flying. 6 men beaten on the way to the line by Julian O'Neill. Tremendous try.
This is certainly a beautiful try as the ball is spread across the left hand, and just look how Renoff draws where Ricky Walford, but Plowman goes straight over the top of Ricky Walford there, and Kevin Walters into the port, and the ball cuts back to Julie O'Neill here, and Julie O'Neill just beats play, pushes out of the way of Kieran Walters. There was a suggestion of a shepherd there, but it's just cutting back off his right, back towards the post, and a great individual try for an 18-year-old.
Julian O'Neill represented Queensland in athletics, cricket and rugby league as a junior. Now Terry Madison right in front of the sticks. Raises the flags. Brisbane bounced back to the lead. 16 points to 12, 7 minutes till the half-time break.
Yeah, the Broncos on fire. And here's this young lad, Julian O'Neill, on his way. He comes to Chariots. He shows him which way to go. Stepping inside, using good footwork, good skill. The last defender is Mark Coyne. He slips over. And at 18 years of age, the rugby league world is yours.
What tremendous speed and stepping and determination from O'Neill. Sean McVean off the field for St. George as Hoff takes it in his in-goal area.
And there's 21 missed tackles there by St. George, and obviously about 6 of those in that last movement. 2 of the players that missed tackles on occasions who looked as though they did have Julian O'Neill wrapped up. One was Rex Turp, he probably should have gotten him, and also maybe the front rower Neil Turney.
You mentioned the suggestion of a shepherd, but I think it was probably okay.
No, it was certainly okay, but there was no one impeded at all on that occasion, but Rex Turp should have wrapped it up.
Madison to play it back, and O'Neill kicks. Away from Potter. Gives the chasers some time to get downfield. Potter almost away from the tackle, but Renoff held on well. Walford, the ball knocked down.
Well, I thought that ball was played by Steve Renoff. If we'll have it on replay here, we'll have a look at Renoff just goes to that ball there.
And you'll see at half-time that he did the same thing to Martin Bella last week. So once more, there's still the ball rule questionable. Penalty goes to Brisbane. Once more interference in the play of the ball.
Well, that certainly was a crucial decision by Eddie Ward there. It looks like they're going to pay the penalty here. An easy conversion by Terry Madison.
Here's the incident leading to the penalty. With Mark Coyne all over the top. Won the penalties. Jim Miles chewing on his gum.
He could paint a game plan on that face.
Which one, Gino's or Wayne?
No, Wayne.
Chewing his lip at least, Gene Miles. A lot of nerves in the stomach of Miles because he can't be out in the centre where he can do something about it. Madison has kicked 2 from 3. This is handy to the post on the 22. And the flags are raised once more. So Brisbane now have a 6-point lead. 18 points to 12 just before half-time. The crowd enjoying the last few minutes of football as the Broncos bounce back after St. George had suddenly hit the lead.
St. George not in any hurry to continue the game, John, so maybe the heat is having a bit of effect on some of these big players.
Well, there's a bit of size about them, Arthur, but that southerly breeze is fairly refreshing, I think. I don't think they'll have any problems in that area, but 30 points scored between two teams aspiring to get into the final five. It's very unusual.
St. George there with 111 tackles. If they continue that vein, they're certainly going to run out of juice.
Gill, mister. Dowling, good ball to Renoff. Walters stealing away from dummy half. 10 metres short of halfway on the last tackle. O'Neill. Julian O'Neill with a fair bit of responsibility on his shoulders with the kicking game now, because usually it would be Conway or Langer or Miles to kick, but it's another duty he has to fulfill today. Long ball for Hardy. Out to a fire. Can't get away from Hancock. And into touch. A fire tried to take him on. Michael Hancock had enough speed to go with him.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to go, this could give the Broncos another chance. As we see Michael Hancock showing Martin a fire the line. Very good wing play there by Michael Hancock.
Brisbane have the scrum win. 1.5 minutes till the break. G. Good strong defence from the Dragons. Hardy in there with Elliott, who's on the field. Now it's Tessman. 18 points to 12 in favour of the Broncos. Madison. Oh, lifted, and they just stopped the spear tackle in time. Very nearly drove his neck into the ground, but in the end he came down flat-backed on the ground. Plowman loses it. Goulet has it for the Dragons. Out to Walford. Trying to get away from Renoff. Hodges. Swung to ground by his opposite number, Kevin Walters. No way through for Collins. That ball looked to be stolen. Penalty has gone to St. George.
Now, this is bad play. This is certainly bad play by Andrew G here. With a minute to go, they'll be able to find the line, probably down near the 22 there, but it gives them probably 3 tackles. We have a look. Here's Andrew G going in on Wayne Collins and definitely stripping him of the ball.
Particularly when the defence was knocking St. George backwards. 32 metres out. Elliott puts his head down. 27 seconds till the half-time siren. Tierney holds it up for Collins. 25 metres out now. Hodges. Peter Coyne. And it goes to Goulet. On to Mark Coyne. Mark Coyne cuts through. Up to Turp. Turp inside looking for a fire. Goulet has it. Goulet gets it down. Well, Andrew G is paid for stripping the ball. St. George have scored. G down injured in the back play as we speak. St. George hit back right on half-time. Long balls. Second tackle after the tap kick. Coyne links up with Goulet. Quick pass onto Mark Coyne. He's got tremendous pace. A great ball may have even come off Hancock. Turp looped it back inside. A hopeful pass, but Goulet was there to pick it up and plant it for a try.
There's certainly a lot of luck attached to this try, but it's a beautiful ball here by Peter Coyne. Once again, he has someone off his decoy runner off his shoulder there, but it selects the ball out wide, and a little bit of luck here as Coyne tries to wrap that ball around Michael Hancock there, but going into Rex Turp's end, and Rex Turp just throws perhaps a back inside, and Scott Goulet, the man there on the spot to pick that ball up as Terry Madison slips over.
Scott Goulet played rugby union for Sydney 3 days before he signed with St. George. Country origin this year. Very tall man. You can see there alongside the club doctor. Stats book here. Our stats man Graham Roberts says that Scott Goulet is 6'5.5", but I'm having my doubts whether he's that tall. but 10 metres in from touch. Trying to level the scores right on half-time. Hits it well, but not well enough. So that is half-time. And Brisbane clinging to a lead. But mistakes have cost Brisbane 2 tries. And this game wide open. Brisbane leading 18-16. And a very important second half about to begin for both teams, but more so it's Brisbane desperate to win this match. The second half underway.
I'm sure Wayne Bennett would have had something to say to Andrew G at halftime.
Tierney taking it forward. Well, let's find out what Wayne Bennett did have to say, John.
Well, first off, he's given Andrew G a bit of a spell first up, but the message from both rooms was very similar. The defence is a problem, so a priority on defence. Otherwise, we could have a cricket score here. Good for the fans, but not too good for the coaches.
Ball bouncing for Hoff. Chased by Coyne, and a good tackle by Mark Coyne. Plowman.
One thing, Warren, I did find out around those dressing room scene was that that heat that Arthur mentioned earlier was worrying with some of the players, particularly St. George, bigger fellas.
Gilmister gets it out to Tessman.
And they're the top hitmen for both sides. Andrew G still leading the way for Brisbane with 15, and Tony Priddle leading the way with St. George with 18 tackles.
Madison with a good kick. Finding touch just 13 metres out from the Dragons line.
And normally it's O'Neill who has been doing the kicking, but on this occasion we see Terry Madison, who has done the kicking in the past for the Broncos, just putting that short one in.
Hodges has it for the Dragons. They're down by 2 points, 18-16. Solid defence coming in that time as they moved up quickly on top of Elliott. Tierney trying to offload, had one hand swinging loose. Collins swung to ground by Dowling. Hodges under pressure from Can. Can really did pull out of the tackle as he came to him. Hoff loses it. Oh, just managed to hang on. What a crucial mistake that would have been. First tackle.
Yeah, Hoff there just trying to get that ball over the top there and giving the ball in support to his winger.
Brisbane had started steadily. To have made a mistake there on the first tackle really would have been potentially fatal, the way mistakes have been in this game. They seem to turn into tries for the opposition very smartly. O'Neill gives it out to Hancock. Takes on a fire and away from the fire this time. Hancock tackled from behind by a fire, who at least tried to make up for the error. Fifth tackle. Kerrod Walters going across field. St. George ball moved up. The kick across. Oh, Walford almost took it. So did Redoff. St. George have it back into the in-goal area, and the referee said he hadn't called held, and it's a goal line dropout. Bit of a dispute as Can is over there.
Yeah, almost a very near thing. There was a suggestion that Kevin Walters there might have run behind a player, but Walford coughing that ball up and nearly falling into Renoff's hand there. But good work there by Plowman there, but good defence also for Can, just coming in there and forcing the ball over the goal line.
Coyne drops out. Hoff quickly back upfield. Held by Elliott. Gilmister. 24 metres out. Kerrod Walters. Grabbed by Hardy. Quickly plays it back. Out and out of Can. A little bit of a step from the second rower. Walters. O'Neill. Back to Kevin Walters. Morganson swept upon by Turp. O'Neill puts a high bomb up. Potter coming across. Takes it in the in-goal area on the full, so it's a 22 tap. Well taken by Michael Potter because he had to keep an eye on where the touchline was.
It was certainly a big ball. This was put up by Julian O'Neill there, but unfortunately for Broncos, they didn't have a chaser who could put pressure on Michael Potter.
Good high kick by O'Neill. Collins takes the tap. To Tierney. On the blind, it's Hardy. Out to Goulet. In the shadows. Sun will get very low late in the game. It's going to be awkward for wingers on this side of the field. Wingers and centres are going to be looking right into a very low direct sun. As a kick is out on the full from Coyne. Peter Coyne, or was it Hodges? Just going for a little too much length.
Yeah, Hodges here, no pressure at all on him at all here, but just biting off too much there. The ball just landed just over the touchline as Terry Madison breaks in the scrum.
Madison has support. Looks out wide to Plowman. Walford tries to get hold of him and makes a good tackle. Plowman left the ball in the field of play, realising he was going into touch, and St. George have saved the day and the ball. Good break by Madison on the blind from the scrum.
And once again, a mistake by the Broncos. Trying to find the inside pass there, but fortunately for St. George, going to a St. George player.
2 points in it. Brisbane 18, St. George 16. Plowman losing the ball on the first tackle. Tierney gets it away, kept on the toe by Potter. Hoff has it, and quickly he sets sail. He's got support. Can't get it away to Hancock.
Very good defence there by Martin O'Fire.
Dowling. St. George up inside the 5. Referee Ward pinging them out wide, and this is right in front of the posts.
We'll have a look. We'll see a number of the St. George players offside, but he has picked, it looks like, Wayne Collins offside.
4-2 the penalties now. Brisbane with a chance to extend their lead to 4 points. Brisbane have had something of a Saturday hoodoo this year. They've lost all 3 games that the ABC has televised, and the Broncos have figured. They've also lost a Friday night game, so playing other than on Sundays hasn't been to their liking. Gene Miles was chewing his lip before, now Wayne Bennett's chewing his fingernails. Oh, there goes Gino. He decided to have a little bit of fingernail as well. It's tough when you're up in the grandstand and your team's playing for survival, particularly for 2 great competitors like Miles and Bennett. Madison. He's only started in a handful of first-grade games this season. Right in front. Important kick. And the flags are raised. The value of having a reliable, accurate kicker. Brisbane 20, St. George 16, 9 minutes into the second half. Just so important these days to have a good goal kicker.
Yeah, we argued about the value of whether Terry Madison should be in the side as against Bob Conway. Terry Madison being a little bit more consistent than Bob Conway, and unfortunately for Terry Madison, it's after Bob Conway was badly injured.
Ricky Walford restarts play. High kick into the sun. Well taken by Hancock. And he charges straight into fire. There we go. Real battle royal. So far the honours about even. Dowling. Hancock absolutely determined to just motor straight over the top of Chariots.
Well, there has been a suggestion that Martin O'Fire's head-on defence is a little bit suspect, so...
Gilmister. Midway between the Broncos quarter and halfway. Madison. Kicking away from Potter. And good chase from the Walters boys. The Twins down there to make the tackle. Walford standing wide. Nowhere to go. Good defensive line moving up to drive him back inside. Brittle.
There we see St. George having to do about 50% more defence than the Broncos, so maybe in the end it could have an effect.
There's Hancock with a good tackle because Turp had room to move. Elliott bumping, trying to get away from Tessman. Good pass back. A fire. They've looked after it fairly closely. Martin Fire hasn't had many chances. Fifth tackle. Collins kicking. And it's a good kick too. Won't go dead. Hoff. Only 4 metres out from his own line. Mark Coyne gets hold of him. Hoff wins the tug of war. Gets another 6 metres. But a good tackle nevertheless. Plowman. He'll need to get more and more involved to help the forwards through the latter part of the game. Can. Good run over the advantage line. Quick burst. Tessman. Dowling. Really in the match there haven't been a lot of mistakes, but the ones that have been made have been crucial. And here's another one, a charge down on Madison's kick. Walters has got it again.
Yeah, there's a suggestion there that Troy Hodges was tackled without that ball.
The referee has ruled 6 more tackles for the charge down.
So have a look here as Madison gets the kick in. Troy Hodges chasing, so the ball pops up for Troy Hodges. It conclusive on that shot.
And a good ball from Kerrod Walters to Renoff, almost put him away. Now Gilmister, short ball to Madison. Over the top. O'Neill. Down to Potter, who had to make the tackle. Kevin Walters stabbing it towards the in goal. Back goes Potter. Walters coming through on him. And Potter forced to carry it dead in goal. Well judged kick put through by Kevin Walters.
Here we see Kevin Walters just putting this ball, but it looked as though it wasn't a planned move. It was just impulse on Kevin Walters' part. And there is a good chase by Kevin Walters, which forces Potter to take that ball over the dead ball line. But the pressure's certainly still on the St. George here as they drop out.
Down to Willie Morganson. A solid hit comes in from Elliott and Goulet. Plenty of shoulder in that tackle. Gilmister goes a little wide of Goulet. Make sure he wasn't going to get another hit from him at least. Tierney and Collins there to make the tackle. Can.
He's certainly run the ball well, John Can.
Alan Can, yeah. Nice short build. He's very strong, close to the ground, but this is nerve-wracking for both coaches, I'm sure. And Arthur, it makes me think, boy, you want to go back into it.
Kevin Walters only 6 metres out on the last tackle. The Broncos going to tackle either side. Walters puts it up. Coming down right on the goal line. They all fight for it. St. George have it. It must have come off a Brisbane hand, according to the referee. Otherwise, Turp was offside.
Yeah, very lucky escape as Andrew Tessman and Julian O'Neill went after that ball, and that ball was just popped backwards, and that could have went either way. Just Turp the man there just to take that ball.
Peter Gill on the field for Coyne. Peter Coyne.
One Queenslander leads for St. George and another takes the field. Hardy out to Mark Coyne. Outside Renoff, and he's away. Tremendous pace from Coyne. Downfield, no one in front of him. Hoff coming across. Walford's winning. Coyne realised that Walford was covered. Flings it back to Potter now. Only 20 metres out. Great football from St. George. Tremendous run from Mark Coyne. And now a Brisbane player is in the bin. It's Hoff interfering in the tackle as the penalty goes to St. George.
Now, Michael Potter there banged that ball down the ground, thinking that he was entitled to at least play the advantage But a chance there for St. George as Coyne elected to go on himself. He had Martin O'Fire unmarked on the outside. You see Paul Hoff there just trying to delay the play the ball, and the referee left no alternative but to send him to the sin bin for 10 minutes.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? Players are being sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes regularly on this charge of the so-called professional foul, but players still continue to do it, so maybe they're going to have to start sending players for a longer period or something, because they continue to do it and they continue to upset the flow of the attack. It's a penalty that players are obviously willing to incur. They still think it's worthwhile. Ricky Walford, 20 metres out, 15 metres to the right of the post. This kick's a good one. Walford's been all around the post. That one went straight through. Brisbane 20, St. George 18, 16 minutes into the second half. Another look at the penalty after the great break by Mark Coyne and Potter backing up. Gill went into dummy half. He wanted a quick pass, but Hoff was all over the top of Potter. Good decision by the referee, an obvious decision to make. O'Neill, downfield to Potter. 18,367 people here to watch this match.
And we see Julian O'Neill go back to the fullback position. So it means that Madison will drop out at the scrum and go to the 5/8 position.
Pass to Priddle is very flat, almost forward. So St. George with an extra man for a few minutes now. Hardy can't get away from the tackle there of Can. Elliott. Martin O'Fire will be wondering if the ball will come his way with Brisbane one short in defence.
And the man to make a lot of difference to the St. George play has been Matthew Elliott. Since he's come on, he's given the side a lot more direction and a lot more enthusiasm.
O'Neill at fullback slammed. Plowman.
There's the missed tackle for St. George, a whopping 26, but the shut down that area a little bit in the second half.
Kerrod Walters, good run, good pass. Gilmister, Kevin Walters, went off. Back inside to Plowman. And for all that, they didn't make a lot of headway. Dowling. Last tackle coming up. Madison puts it deep and high, but Potter has all day. Runs into Kerrod Walters, who stands his ground with Morganson. Now a chance for a fire. Here's some room to move. Can he get outside Hancock? He decides to go inside. Couldn't get away in the end from Hancock, who came at him.
Yeah, they've certainly had a tremendous duel there today, and Trevor Gilmeister falling over there.
Ball lost backwards by Collins. St. George retain it. Tierney. St. George losing Paul Osborne early in the first half, injured. Peter Gill. Good ball to Turp. Turp has it. Goulet's inside, a fire outside. Fire chased by O'Neill. Back inside, gets a pass to Turp. Brilliant St. George try. Turp did so well initially, and then to pull in the last pass. St. George hit the lead 22-20. Great football by St. George. They have got an extra man on the paddock, but Peter Gill made the break, stepping away from Tessman. Turp on the fly, pulled the pass in. At this stage, it looked like a fire might go all the way himself. He had enough speed to get away from O'Neill, but the cover of Hancock was there, but he couldn't prevent the pass. Back to Rex Turp. He's a try-scoring machine, this Turp. Has pace and an ability to back up.
Tremendous ball here by the replacement Gill, but Turp grabs that ball in, but he gives the ball here to Martin O'Fire, but this ball from Martin O'Fire back into Turp is definitely forward. So I'm surprised that the referee missed that one.
Well, Rex Turp is a postman. He's certainly delivering the right mail for St. George today. Tony Priddle off for St. George. The Fire has such speed, even though the pass was out in front of him. We saw how fast Julian O'Neill was in the first half, but Fire was able to skip away from him.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I thought there was 2 passes there, suspect, but definitely the last pass back in from Fire to Turpus forward.
Ricky Walford. Bad kick. That was not a good kick from Walford. He may regret that. It's St. George 22, the Broncos 20. 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, this is one of Peter Gill's specialties. Just working the short side. He's very good. Holds the ball in both hands. And a good pass there to Turp. He did well to latch onto it eventually. Turns it out to the speed machine of Fire. O'Neill's beaten for pace. Hancock comes to him again, and there's that very suspect ball inside the Rex Turp.
Probably Willie Morganson was caught out there also, John.
Yeah, he just turned him inside out, didn't he? Willie probably went up just a little too early. A Testman a little slow, maybe.
Wouldn't mind seeing that final pass from side on again. I'm not convinced that it was forward because it certainly floated forward, but I thought it may have come back from Fire's hand.
Wayne, that was 2 metres.
You don't even remember my name. Collins from dummy half.
I'm talking to Wayne Bennett.
Hodges with the kick downfield. Away from O'Neill, who has to pedal all the way back to his post. We'll settle the argument. Here's the final
just
pass from a
10-metre line. Just have a look how far that goes forward.
Well, it certainly carried forward. Yeah, okay, I'll concede defeat. It did float in the air, though.
Thank you, Warren.
Up the centre of the field goes Mark Hone, who's on for Brisbane. Now Plowman up to the halfway with a tremendous bullocking run. Gilmister, Madison, G. Mark Hone, the fresh reserve, on for Brisbane to give them that added injection of fresh energy. Then Potter trap. Good chase downfield there by Madison. Walford. Ricky Walford away from 4 tackles. There he gets it to Turp. The Turp has a Fire outside him. Gives him a chance. Hancock with a tackle. And a Fire loses it, but referee Ward has called it back for a forward pass. Maybe Turp should have given the pass just a little earlier.
There's a tremendous confrontation here by Michael Hancock and Martin Fire, and certainly Michael Hancock won that one.
Yes, he did well, Michael Hancock. Tailed him all the way. Rarely do you see Martin Fire with a bit of space get caught.
Wayne Bennett pulled the right rein, putting Bronco Hancock onto a Fire today. Hancock has been playing on the left wing, switched to the right today, supposedly because Plowman was better suited on the left wing, but I'm pretty sure it was also to put Hancock on a Fire.
And of course, Mark Hone is on the field in replace of Greg Dowling.
As Greg Dowling has toiled away for 60 minutes, but now it's left to Mark Hone to try and get the Broncos home. The St. George leading 22-20. 17 minutes to go. Gilmister. Jared Walters, bad concentration.
They had the numbers out there on the left. Trevor Gilmeister saw they were short out on the left-hand side here, but there's Jared Walters not getting hold of that ball. Mark Coyne had Mark Hone outside of him there, so they got try put of him. That was a forward pass.
Yeah, definitely forward to Goulet, but referee Ward back on the 10-metre didn't pick it up.
A beautiful tackle there by the axe, Trevor Gilmeister.
Gill, good run. Beautiful ball to Mark Coyne. Ricky Walford down the touchline. Across comes Kieran Walters with a good covering tackle. But Peter Gill showing his presence now. The penalty goes against Brisbane. Will someone be in the bin? No. Could well have been.
Well, the linesman calling out Brett Plowman here.
Well, St. George are cutting loose with Brisbane down to 12 men. Hoff still off the field.
Eric.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, here it comes now, Hoff. In fact, he's right alongside me. They're counting down now.
Well, that was a tough penalty there. Maybe Ricky Walford, in his eagerness to get up and play the ball quickly, did move off the mark.
Paul Hoff back just in time to get into the defensive line for Brisbane. Taki goes to fullback. O'Neill goes up into the front line. Priddle off the tap. St. George can wrap the game up if they can score from here. Only 10 metres out. McBean, great tackle from Gilmister. Really targeted in ball and all. Hodges, short ball for Elliott. Back to Hodges, switching it to the blind. Hardy to no one. Goulet on the 22. 15 metres out. McBean. He's held 10 metres out by Hone. Plays it to Collins. Hodges. Hardy. Looking inside. Elliott. Tries to crash his way through. The referee says the ball's been lost by Elliott. It's a bad mistake with still a couple of tackles to go.
Yeah, beautiful tackle there by Andrew G and Mark Hone here. We see Elliott taking the ball up, charging up and trying to force ahead there, but once again the hands could have been in there by Andrew G.
Well, they certainly were. G, for the second time, attempted to pluck the ball out, even though in the first half it led to a try for St. George.
We see that there's another incident there by Peter Gill there, just coming in late in the tackle.
Only 2 points in it. St. George 22, Brisbane 20. Mark Hone. It was a decisive 10 minutes while Hoff was off the field. St. George really hit their straps, scoring one try. As Walters kicks downfield, it's a good kick that doesn't bounce into touch. Potter has it. And good chasing there from Willie Morganson and Kevin Walters. A fire. And Gilmister takes the right course of action. He just went straight into him, didn't hang off, waiting for him to dance around. Hardy. Wayne Bennett, a hair falling out by the moment. Elliott, 32 metres out from the St. George line. Priddle runs into O'Neill.
A few of the players starting to feel the strain of this heat.
Hodges, under pressure, gets it back to Collins. Oh, what an important let-off that was. Hoff. Hoff up the centre of the field he goes. Taken from behind by Mark Coyne. Gerard Walters.
He thought he had a penalty there, Walters, but referee Ward disagreed.
Gilmister. The crowd trying to talk the referee into a penalty for St. George being up inside the 5. Greg Dowling's back on the field. Hone knocks it back. The referee said it went forward. I thought it went back. Dummy half, Mark Hone. Just a little bit of panic.
Definitely a knock-on.
I'm not going to argue because I lost the last fight, but that ball went backwards from his hands. Can leaving the field and Dowling back on. After a short breather for Greg Dowling, Wayne Bennett feeling that in the last 11 minutes he needs the experience of Dowling out there. McBean. Dale Shearer loosening up. Hardy. Priddle up the centre.
Defence has been a lot better the second half from both sides, Arthur.
Certainly has, and the man leading the fray for the Broncos is Trevor Gilmeister. And of course, Matty Elliott doing his share for St. George.
Yeah, Gilmeister having a mighty game.
You see the error there. 27 missed tackles, making up 33 mistakes for St. George. And certainly a good sign there for the Broncos, but unfortunately they're behind in the area that counts.
And a good kick by Hodges has them pinned inside their quarter. 22 points to 20 to the Dragons. 10.5 minutes to go. Broncos with an overlap. O'Neill pops it to Morganson. Morganson has Hancock running away inside. Takes on Potter himself, and that's a great tackle by Michael Potter.
He certainly was, and Willie Morganson guilty of carrying the ball in the wrong hand on that occasion.
Dowling steams ahead. Fifth tackle against Brisbane. Walters puts a kick through, looking to place it in the in-goal area. Back goes Walford. And he's away. Well, he almost got away from Renoff. Not so sure whether it was the right tactics by Kevin Walters. It was really a steadying kick rather than an attacking kick.
Well, it was the last tackle there, but unfortunately the Broncos were lined out in an attacking position rather than a chasing position.
I'm sure they were all expecting him to shovel the ball wide or to put a short chip in rather than just try and place it back. But they have kept the pressure on St. George. McVean meets good defence from Hone and also Gilmister. Last tackle, Hodges with a hurried kick.
That's much better pressure there from the Broncos. Andrew G got out to the marker position and put pressure on Hodges there, and a great break here by Hoff.
Well, I really felt that Hoff was unlucky to be dropped from the test team. Not saying that he hadn't made mistakes, but I wonder whether Australia will rue the fact that we've had a tremendous attacking game today.
I agree with you, Warren.
Well, that's one.
And here are the hitmen for both sides. Brisbane, Kieran Walters, the hooker, leading the way with 26, followed by the hitman Trevor Gilmeister. Tony Priddle for St. George leading the way, and there's a roar goes up as a penalty goes the Broncos' way.
And it's right in front of the post, so Terry Madison will come up to kick for goal. Surely, no, they're going for the try. Well, Greg Dowling is the skipper. Even though it's within Madison's kicking range and the Broncos are 2 points behind, he's decided to go for the try rather than take a draw.
With 8 minutes to go, that could be a good decision.
Have to wait.
Dowling off the tap. Well, Brisbane, really, a draw would have only given them 1 point to take them up to 17. With 5 games, they could have still been in the shooting for 27. Walters gets it out to Gilmister. Gilmister's over. Gilmister has made the most of Greg Dowling's decision. And Dowling's elated. In fact, Dowling spun around and jumped in the air, looking back towards the grandstand where he knows Gene Miles and Wayne Bennett were. Gilmister scoring the try from close range. Kevin Walters, the short ball, put Gilmister into the hole and ducking out of the tackle over for a vital try that puts Brisbane back in the lead.
Yes, certainly a great try. It's a good ball here, but Gilmeister running in between Peter Gill and Priddle there and just forcing his way over there. A great try to the Broncos and a deserved try from Trevor Gilmeister, who has had an outstanding game for the Broncos.
Eastern Suburbs Player of the Year in 1989 and 90, Trevor Gilmister. 4th try of the year, and none will be more vital. So Greg Dowling, as skipper, decided not to go for the draw. He went for the try and the win, and the Broncos have their head in front by 2 points. Madison with a very important kick here, because if he can make the lead 4 points, it's going to be that much harder for St. George. They'll need to convert a try. And a goal won't be good enough to get on level terms. Madison taking his time. He's a cool customer, and it's a good kick. He's had a good day to the beat, Terry Madison. 5 goals now, 26-22 in favour of the Broncos. There are 6 minutes to go.
Well, this was a calculated gamble by the skipper Dowling. It paid off on the second ruck. Gilmeister's good enough to dive over. Greg Dowling spun around, saluted the coach as if to say, no worries, coach.
So Brisbane now need to play no-mistake football, because St. George showed midway through this half what an attacking unit they are. as Sean McBean leaves the field.
Now, once again, Michael Hancock, he never had a marker. He was in the process of playing the ball here, and was Martin O'Fire offside? He certainly was. So another dubious decision by the referee there.
This St. George scrum win, working it out to O'Fire, trying to get away from Morganson.
And of course, St. George have to play a little bit of catch-up football, so that is in the Broncos' favour at the moment.
Coyne, Gill gets the pass back to Coyne. 6 more tackles. Referee says it was touched by a Bronco foot. Elliott.
Well, it looked as though St. George did lose that ball, but he must have regained it off one of the Broncos' feet.
24 metres out. Coyne to Priddle.
They certainly make a tight defence work, John, St. George.
Yep. Hardy. Coyne. Coyne in a gap. Coyne only a few metres out. Gill can't hold on to it. And Hoff saves the day. And maybe the Broncos' chances as they live again.
There's certainly a great chance there for St. George to even the score. And we have a look here. He pops the ball back into Peter Gill here, but there was plenty of defence coming across in the shape of Kieran Wallers and Paul Hoff, so maybe it mightn't have been a try.
Mark Coyne with a great burst. He's very, very fast.
Well, he left Terry Madison in his wake there. Terry Madison didn't have the speed to cover.
Kevin Walters beats his way back upfield. We're inside the last 5 minutes. Potter comes back up towards Morganson. He makes a good tackle. Morganson, Can and O'Neill have certainly acquitted themselves well today. Ricky Walford wrapped up by desperate defence. Priddle. Coyne has men outside. Hardy, Goulet. Back to Gill. To Turk. Suggesting that pass was forward. Coyne to Mark Coyne. To Walford. A fire's out there on that wing as well. Walford back to Elliott. St. George keeping it alive. Quick hands on to Hodges. Back inside is Mark Coyne. Kicking ahead. Back goes Renoff. Chases by the ball. Walford and a fire there. And saved. Saved by Renoff. And Renoff has been hurt. Renoff chasing back there with just one boot on.
We have a look here as the ball is put up over the top here by Coyne. There's a suggestion that Hoff takes out Coyne here. So that possibly could have been a penalty, but it becomes a foot race between Renoff and Martin O'Fire.
And beautifully covered up there by Renoff. Renoff limping. He looks as if he wants to stay on the field, though he is disabled somewhat. He's only got one boot on as Hoff drops out from what looked to be well in front of the goal line. Priddle. There can only be just over a minute to go. 26-22 to the Broncos. Hardy. St. George unleashing a few last volleys here. Peter Coyne with a good run. The Broncos defence leaving little holes, and the Coyne brothers are finding them. So too is Hodges as he gets it out to Goulet. Goulet drops on the face. Only 10 out. Good ball back to Priddle. Priddle finds Walford for the line. He gets a pass away. It's a try to St. George. With a kick to come, they've levelled the scores. St. George have scored. St. George, tremendous attacking football in the last minutes to level the scores at 26-all. Ricky Walford getting the last pass away. Here was Goulet. He managed to stand in a tackle. Got a pass back to Priddle. Priddle to Walford, and Walford slipping a pass up to Potter, who took it magnificently. Great pass, great catch. Try right at the death.
Yeah, and the man to miss the tackle here on Goulet is Trevor Gilmeister. We have a look. And Trevor Gilmeister, Goulet cutting back to his left, shrugs off Kieran Waller's there. The ball goes to Priddle, and who looms up but Ricky Walford. The last-ditch tackle there by Andrew G, as Walford just offloads that ball before he hits the ground, and Michael Potter, the man on the spot, probably to wrap up this game for St. George.
The Broncos can only look on. Ricky Walford to attempt the conversion right in front of the left-hand upright. If he lands this, St. George win, and the Broncos are finished. Walford moves into it. He lands the goal. St. George lead 28-26. It's full time, and the Broncos are finished. Finished for the season. Bennett can't believe that his team played so well. St. George, with a nail-biting finish, have stolen the game, and it's very difficult to see the Broncos making the semi-finals now.